If you're a car lover like me, how nice are those shots at the beginning? And there'll be a lot more of those in today's video, as well as all the information you could want on how somebody could buy their first Rolls Royce so young in life and the circumstances that led up to it. Of course, we'll talk financing, we'll talk details on the car, we'll talk car specs and everything else you could want to know. First off, I want to start by thanking everybody for joining this channel. This is our first ever video on the channel. My name is Pamela. I'm a business lawyer by trade, and I own and operate my own law firm, Graphene Business Law. And I've always been a lover of luxury, and thankfully these days I'm privileged enough and I've accomplished enough in my life where I can dabble in luxury homes and luxury cars, luxury vacations, restaurants, clothing, all of that. And I don't take a single bit of it for granted. Having come from a third world country and moved to Canada when I was 9 years old, believe you me, I know all about the have-nots. And through a lifetime of hard work, I consider myself fortunate to dabble in the haves a little bit more these days. And of course, may it get better and better and better from here. I know why you're here. You're here to learn all about the car and perhaps some of the background details that went into acquiring it, some of the details that go into the car itself. So in today's video, I'm going to give you footage walking you through my exact Rolls Royce Phantom and the details of my Phantom and everything that I see and I come across when I drive that car. I'll also answer a few questions. One of my friends is on the ride with me. He's asking me questions. So that's what was on his mind, and that's what I got to in the video. And at the end of this video, I'll talk a little bit more about some of the logistics that led to the acquisition of the car, such as the money, what was involved there, what the experience was like. I did buy the car secondhand. I don't know if I will ever buy a car brand new for obvious financial reasons. And again, as a business lawyer, I know a thing or two about the value of money and buying brand new. I mean, there's billionaires that don't buy brand new cars, so it's certainly nothing to feel a certain kind of way about. I feel thankful that the car I wanted was able to come on the market secondhand because it only saves me money. So I'll roll the tape here of the car itself and you can get to know the car, and like I said, there's some Q&A in there, and then it'll come back to us right here in my office and I'll walk you through some more details. If you're new to this channel, which I suspect most of you are because it's our, did I say it yet, first ever video, you better click like, give us some encouragement here, you better subscribe, show us that we're in it to win it on this channel. And of course, leave your thoughts at any point in the video that you see something and you're like, I got something to say. Let me know what you have to say. Starting with the exterior of the Rolls Royce Phantom being the largest sedan ever on the market, multiple feet longer than your average parking spot. We still haven't ripped off those plastic feet things that come from the dealer, so ignore that mess, ignore the Louis Vuitton on the floor. And certainly ignore the jacked umbrellas from the door. This car was bought secondhand, like I mentioned, and your girl still doesn't have Mr. Beast YouTube money yet. What you've just seen there also is the glove compartment, which also has a few buttons and functionalities for different car features, like the Spirit of Ecstasy coming up and down. Here, of course, is the main dash, that classic clock that I love, the AC functions you see there, radio functions. The clock, by the way, if you click on that button, becomes a screen that helps you park and Bluetooth your music and all of those modern features. This in between the seats is the settings regarding updating your chairs or your seats. And the first time I looked at this, it was like a rocket ship to me. There's so many buttons, so many functionalities, so many things to do with those seats. This pop-out thing in the middle and the wheel on it coordinates with the screen that's behind the clock that I mentioned that allows you to change features from Bluetooth to driving directions to park assist, all of those modern day functionalities. Now, of course, we're looking over the driver's seats, how fast you're going, miles on the car, gas, and in terms of kilometers, this car was purchased with 60,000 kilometers, which is amazing for these sorts of cars. Pointing out here, keeping it honest on the channel, like I mentioned, your girl doesn't have that Mr. Beast YouTube money just yet, so the car did come with some cosmetic fixes I have to make, but I literally discounted tens of thousands of dollars from the sticker price, so I'm okay with that. In the middle here, you have light features, you have features on the sunroof, And by the way, the sunroof has some really cool features, how to go up and down. You just saw the key slot, the back, a lot of footprints. This car's given a lot of drives already. Everybody wants to see what the Rolls Royce Phantom looks like. One of my favorite features as a lawyer here is the wooden desks that come in the back. I've never seen this in any other kind of car. I know some Bentleys have them too, but me personally, I've never touched this in a car before. It's a full-out desk in the back. And where I'm sitting right now is the back right seat, which is meant to be the most luxury spot to sit in the Rolls Royce Phantom specifically, which is known as an amazing car to be driven in. Another amazing feature is that the people sitting in the back are not just secondhand citizens in this car. They have their own everything customizable. Of course, the average ACs and everything that you see, but they can have their own music controls. They could do their own, again, temperature controls. They could do their own seat temperature controls. And of course, you've seen the seats in the back. That's, by the way, how you press the button if you're sitting in the back. You don't even have to touch the door. They have their own lights here. Anything you want to do, different brightnesses. An incredible section is that the back people have their own mirrors, just like the passengers in the front do, with lights that pop down. So if the ladies want to do their makeup, if the guys want to, I don't know, slick back their mustache, you can do all of that. And how nuts is this? I literally didn't discover this until the seventh day of having the car. It's extra mirrors in the back for the people in the back. Of course, the old school handles, I guess in case we hit a bump or something. The leather on these seats is the most incredible thing. This car is not brand new, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And the fact that these seats, the leather is delicious on these seats. Truly a testament to that Rolls Royce quality. Again, the little section you saw me pop down, you see that used as a champagne bar in Rolls Royce commercials and things like that. Giving you a better view at the front, which is just my favorite feature of the car, that old school wood and mahogany feature. Here, what I'm showing you is the spot underneath the legs on the passenger seats in the back. Again, those crazy features, at least to me, that I don't even see in modern cars. They have their own entertainment section back there. They have their own seat warmers, which I can't tell you, not that I go in a lot of strangers' cars, but I have yet to this day to be in a car where somebody has their own seat warmers in the back. Hooks so you don't crinkle your silks, and of course you saw the audio features in the back.
What is your favorite feature of this car?
My favorite feature of the car actually might surprise you because it's not even in the front, although the front is a 10 out of 10. But the back, I think, is maybe an 11 or 12 out of 10. The luxury touches this car has in the back really wow just anybody that sits there. I think the back, in true Rolls Royce spirit, or at least Rolls Royce Phantom spirit, has been designed with the most luxury touches possible, and it really shows.
What is your favorite part of this drive?
Honestly, my favorite part of the drive is how smooth of a drive this car provides. And my favorite accessories, if you will, of the drive are, of course, the all-wood dash. I love that old school touch. And if you zoom into the Spirit of Ecstasy over there, I always think it's a really nice trick that when I click this button and open this compartment, there's an option here to make it go up and down. I guess if you're parked somewhere, you don't want people to just yank it off. So I'll make it go down and come back up. And
what is your least favorite thing with this car?
My least favorite thing about the car is how massive it is, which, funny enough, is also a really amazing thing about this car. But generally speaking, this car is not comparable to anything else on the market right now. It is, let me stop. It is the largest sedan, I believe, on the market by far. Like an average parking spot maybe is around 170 inches, 175. This car length, I believe, comes in at just under 230 inches long. We're talking feet and feet of difference, and it really shows. And if you've never driven a Rolls Royce Phantom before, which obviously most people have not, this will be your biggest adjustment, the size of the car. And you have to look out because so many parking spots today are being made more and more narrow, and the anxiety of scratching this car on something is like top of mind every second I drive this car.
What is your favorite spec on this car?
My favorite spec on the car is that massive V12 engine, which makes for just the most smooth drive I've ever had in my life. And there's so much power running through that engine, and you can't hear a thing as you're driving. And it just feels good to know that there's so much power backing this drive. And when the ride ended, I said, well, David, you didn't ask a single thing about like the substantive stuff that went into acquiring this car. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, don't you want to know how, what goes into the finances of buying this car? Next time you Google how you can afford a Rolls Royce, or you Google what a Rolls Royce Phantom is really like, hopefully this video helps. Rolls Royce Phantom, the most luxury sedan in the world ever created. So I thought I wouldn't feel too good leaving this video without talking about some of those details, especially as I mentioned, I am a lawyer by trade, and it really is important to me to convey a certain kind of message at the end of this video as well about financial responsibility and hard work, and also things to look out for so you don't get scammed at the dealer. As this video is titled, I did purchase this Rolls Royce when I was 28 years old. It's been a few months since then, so yes, the number has gone up. I'm now a whole whopping 29 years old, and I wanted to talk about that because in today's world where we see the social media influencers and this and that, there's all sorts of ideas about how somebody is getting their money. I mean, the truth of the matter is people can get their money that it took to buy this car from one post on Instagram. Some people can work a lifetime and not come across that money. Other people can do certain things that we don't condone on this channel, illegal type of things, to come across those funds, and anything in between that range of the spectrum. So how is this purchase possible for me? Obviously a sizable enough purchase. You're not going to find a Rolls Royce Phantom for, $6,500 wheel side up at the local dealer. First things first, I am a lawyer by trade. Law, thankfully, is an industry that tends to come with a healthy salary. Now, those salaries have gone down and have been going down for like the last decade or so. I would say since at least 2008, lawyer salaries are not what they once were glamorized to be on movies and socials and Hollywood and all that. However, it's still one of the highest paid professions, despite what's happening to incomes worldwide these days and how far they're stretching in terms of the cost of living. Okay, so that's one thing. I'm a very educated person that has become so by design. I mentioned I came here from a third world country. I always knew I wanted to make a little something extra of myself, given everything I had seen. We checked a lot of trauma check boxes growing up, and even in adulthood, and your girl's seen a lot. So that's one route that contributed to income. And that's my job that I literally work so hard at and have my own law firm. I'll link in the description down below if you're a business owner or entrepreneur type in the province of Ontario, Canada, where we practice. The second thing is, in my early 20s, I spent time around certain kind of people, more business-minded, more savvy, more investment-minded, and I came to learn about the importance of investing in real estate. Now, where I'm from is, I think, in a case with a lot of third world countries, acquiring real estate is such an emotional thing. It's the house where you grow up, where you and your wife have your kids, where you grow old and this and that. People buy a home to picture themselves on the porch if they're ever able to get that home. The reality of being a real estate investor is totally different. And we're gonna have more videos on this channel about real estate investments and all of that. But the fact of the matter is, I finished my law school when I was around 24, 25 years old. And then in Canada, you guys don't have this in the US if you're watching from over there, there's something called articling, a mandatory internship of 12 months on the job as a lawyer that we need to take to prove ourselves that we can handle being a lawyer. You cannot be a lawyer in Canada without having completed that articling period, generally speaking. And it used to be longer. I think now they've shortened it a little bit because it's a hell of a long time to put into the system to prove you can be something after already obtaining the Juris Doctor, the JD degree, and all of that. But all that to say, for all investment purposes, I was done with school and I was done paying out by the time I was 24, 25, because that's when my JD program completed. So the second I could, I started investing in real estate. And now I take pride in investing in what some might call junk real estate, okay? Because you know what? Get in where you fit in. Pamela, one of the people I look up to in the world of real estate, always says that as well. Get in where you fit in. I'm not ashamed to admit, for example, years ago, I think 2019, give or take February of 2019, I was living in Toronto at the time. I purchased the cheapest unit listed in the city of Toronto. And you know what? Came to be one of my best investments. And these investments came to grow one after the other, getting in at the lowest price point possible, trying to be as creative as possible with financing, and equity eventually grows. And sometimes, I pull that equity, reinvest it into the home, sometimes into another business. Sometimes I don't touch it at all. Other times tenants are paying so much more in rent than what I'm putting into the home every month. And across all of these properties, they add up. That side money, that passive income, if you will, of real estate investing, although I assure you, it's like a full-time job in and of itself to sniff out a deal and do the finances on it and all that. But the real estate money ended up really helping as well. Now, the third thing I'm going to say is, I mentioned throughout the video, it's not that I went to the Rolls Royce lot and pulled out a 2023 Phantom. Okay, the Phantom I pulled out is over a decade old, which, mind you, in the Rolls Royce world, we're not talking about Kias here. The average Rolls Royce can easily last 75 years because it's such a supreme world of luxury. It will always be ahead of what's on the average cars today, even if they're a decade, 2 decades, even 3 decades old. It's just that kind of world. As you saw the details in this car has details I don't see in my friends' brand new cars today of certain brands. It's just a fact. They're the ones creating, rolling out the carpet for luxury. So you can take a little bit more time on it. And I know some people say to stay away from cars, even at the luxury market once they reach a certain age, but I wasn't afraid of that either because my confidence had grown in, again, what some might call the junk real estate. And by junk, I just mean like the super inexpensive real estate. I'm not buying homes where the roof is caving in. All these homes are up to code, proper, and safe for people to live in them. But anyway, so I wasn't afraid to take a car of a certain kind of age or needing work and all that. And in fact, I used it to my benefit here. I purchased the car from the dealer as is, and as a result of that, I was able to negotiate a discount for myself of up to 30%, around 30% of a discount from what it was listed. Now, as a business person, the question comes up, well, why the hell they let it go so easy? Who is discounting Phantoms at 30%? Obviously, I'm not going to name drop because I don't want to go that direction, but they had their incentives for getting rid of, just like I talked about my junk real estate, what would have been a junk car to them. Okay, they obviously had financial incentives, space incentives, all of that to get rid of this car that clearly nobody had bought. It had sat in the lot for a long time. I looked at photos of the business. I'm talking a long time. Did I take a huge risk? Yes, I did. And the first thing I did with that car, by the way, is roll it to a mechanic to safety the car and prove that it was safe to drive on the road. Because despite what the dealer said, one of them even went as far as to swear to God that the car was safe. I assure you, the car was thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars away from being safe. Close to $20,000 were spent on safetying that car. However, because of the discount I negotiated of many tens of thousands of dollars more than that, I was still well within my buffers for what I wanted out of the car. Another thing I'm going to say in terms of what I wanted out of the car and how financially I was able to get into that game despite being super young, at least by today's standards. The average Rolls Royce driver, you can do the research, is between 45 and 65 years old. I am like half away from that at minimum, and at the 65 range, I mean like being in my 20s is like a third of being in your 60s. But another thing as well is that it was in my plan right from the get-go, before I went to see the car, that this car, I was going to also rent it out to appropriate individuals. So for example, if a certain type of entertainer in town wants this car for a music video, they'll rent it. If somebody wants to book the car for a wedding, for a prom, for a photo shoot, whatever the case may be, I make income just by virtue of being a Rolls Royce Phantom owner, because there's always going to want to be people that want this car, and 99% of people can't afford to acquire it outright. So that's where I say, hey, you can take it for the day, of course in return for a price, but that helps me pay for the car. So I hope that gives you some insights as to the financing. No, this was not done from having, you know, mommy and daddy with pockets. It was hella not done from the sugar daddy with pockets. This was all me and these two shoulders and working damn hard every single day, every single day. All good you do in your life builds, and I'm here. And I've had to avoid a lot of distractions and make a lot of sacrifices to get here, but I hope that can inspire you, because just as the good amplifies, so does the bad. Bad choices you make today will augment into horrific realities tomorrow if you don't do something about them. So there you have it. We've talked about what it was like to deal with a dealer, a secondhand dealer, even for a Rolls Royce Phantom. The Rolls Royce Phantom secondhand dealer is not going to be more honest than a Kia secondhand dealer, and I don't mean to pick on Kias. It's just I looked outside my window and I saw a Kia prior to filming this video. Actually, the Rolls Royce guy selling it secondhand, I think, is more likely to be far more dishonest, because that creature has had to evolve a lot more to lie to a more sophisticated clientele. You have to be very careful in how you navigate those waters. Do a ton of research beforehand. Bring people with you. If you can, bring a mechanic. I knew I was going to take the car as is, and I took that risk on it to help me better negotiate on the price. I still would have, I think I could have gotten it for a lot lower. I think the car was worth even less than I paid for it, despite the dealer telling me he was taking a loss on it. Nobody's ever going to tell you how much of a profit they're making off your back. So those kind of comments don't go far at all with me, but I'm just sharing, full transparency so that next time you're at a dealer and they pull certain lines on you, they're pulling them on everybody. Don't fall for it. Otherwise, what can I tell you? I'm so thankful you watched our first ever video on this channel. There's going to be a lot more. We're going to do lifestyle, we're going to do travel, we're going to do real estate, financing tips. Oh my God, have I learned a ton that I have to share with you guys through being a business lawyer with my own business law firm for years and years and years now. And everything in between. If any ladies or guys are watching, we'll do skincare, we'll do restaurants, we'll do all of that. Thank you so much for chiming in to our first ever video. Let me know what you think of the car. I can take it. I myself showed you some things that are wrong with the car that I'm gonna fix. So nothing under the sun is perfect, but everything has a value. And it's about how well can you tip that value to be in favor of your side of the scale when having a negotiation. So yeah, let me know what you thought about the car. Let me know what specific type of videos within that world of luxury and money management and all that you'd like to see on this channel. And don't forget to click like. Don't forget to subscribe. It takes hella time to put these videos together, and all the editing and all that. Take the day off, go film somewhere, show you the car, all of that. So like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.